Hello, everyone. My name is Timothy Frampton, and today I'll be covering the case of the Commonwealth versus Aaron Hernandez. This case shocked the NFL community and actually made international headlines when the case broke. So that's me. Just a very brief about the case, and let's jump right into it. Sorry about that. Commonwealth versus Aaron Hernandez by myself, November 27th, 2023. So, because this is a murder case, the plaintiff is the state, more specifically, the state of Massachusetts. The defendant is Aaron Hernandez, and the victim is Odin Lloyd. Hernandez pled not guilty on all counts and ultimately decided to take this case to trial. For a little bit of context about the case, I have provided some background information. It was determined that Odin Lloyd was murdered on June 17th of 2013 in Bristol, Connecticut. Lloyd's body was found in an industrial park only a mile away from the home of Hernandez. He was discovered by a jogger who happened to be running through the industrial park at around 5:30 p.m. As I mentioned before, this case was very shocking to the NFL community and was the cause of a legal precedent reversing decision, which I will discuss later in the presentation. The victim, Odin Lloyd, was a 27-year-old man, originally born in the U.S. Virgin Islands. His family would later move to Boston, Massachusetts, where he would play semi-pro football for many years. Although Odin Lloyd and Aaron Hernandez shared the love of football, they met through their significant others. Lloyd dated the sister of Hernandez's fiancée, which led them to meeting and becoming friends. The defendant, Aaron Hernandez, was a professional football player for the New England Patriots. Born in Bristol, Connecticut, Hernandez played football from a young age and would eventually go on to play for Florida State University and be drafted into the NFL. Just a year prior to the murder, Hernandez signed a $40 million contract with the Patriots, which was the largest contract for a tight end in NFL history at the time. So, because of the location of Lloyd's body and his known connection to Hernandez, Hernandez was immediately considered a suspect. For this reason, police obtained a search warrant and would execute this warrant just one day after the murder. While executing this warrant, police retrieved the phone of Hernandez, which provided key evidence for the case. The following is the messages between Hernandez and Lloyd the night of the murder. June 17th, 2013, the night of the murder. Hernandez, 9:05 p.m. I'm coming to grab that tonight. You gonna be around? I need that, and we could step for a little again. Hernandez again at 9:37 p.m. What up? Lloyd, 9:37 p.m. Where? Hernandez, 9:39 p.m. I don't know, it don't matter, but I'ma hit you when I'm that way, like last time. If my phone dies, I'ma hit you when I charge it, which will be in a little. Lloyd, 10 p.m. I don't know anything going on. Hernandez, 10:30 p.m. I'll figure it out. I'll hit you on way. Lloyd, 12:22 m. 12:22 a.m. Excuse me. We still on? After discovering the messages between Hernandez and Lloyd, police began to search for evidence to corroborate their theory of Hernandez being the killer. Police discovered toll booth footage showing Hernandez driving a rented Nissan Altima from his residence in Connecticut to Boston, where Odin lived. The police also found footage that shows Hernandez picking up Lloyd outside of his home in Boston at around 2:30 a.m. Further video footage was found showing Hernandez, Lloyd, and two other individuals at a gas station the same night as the murder. Hernandez can be seen dancing and buying a pack of blue bubblegum. Finally, surveillance cameras caught Hernandez driving into the industrial park where Lloyd's body would be found. Hernandez also had security cameras around his home that police were interested in. However, police would discover that the home security footage system was damaged in an attempt to destroy incriminating evidence. As we've learned in this class, digital evidence can be recovered. Police used digital forensic tools to recover this footage and found the reason for why Hernandez wanted it destroyed. The footage shows Hernandez and two others arriving at his home without Lloyd the night of the murder. It also shows Hernandez walking around his home with what appears to be a gun the same night. Additional text messages between Hernandez and his fiancée, Cheyenne Jenkins, were found containing incriminating information. In the messages between the two, Hernandez writes, "Go in the back of the screen in the movie room. There's a box, just in case you were looking for it." Police would tie this message with further surveillance recovered from the home security footage, which showed Cheyenne Jenkins carrying a large black trash bag out of the house. Inside the bag, it appears to contain a large square object, similar to the shape of a gun case. Jenkins would later testify that she did not know the contents within the bag, nor the location where she disposed of the bag. Some additional evidence in this case includes bullet casings in the Nissan rented by Aaron, which was actually covered in blue gum, much like he would have bought from the gas station. And the caliber of this bullet matched the weapon that killed Odin Lloyd. There was a marijuana cigarette found in the industrial park where the crime was committed, as well as evidence of Hernandez trying to destroy his cell phone. Police also discovered that Hernandez and Lloyd got into an argument while outside a nightclub a few nights before the murder. This is the only motive police were able to find. Some evidence in this case was unfortunately dismissed due to issues with the search warrant and the execution of the search warrant. This could have been detrimental to the case. However, police did an excellent job at obtaining additional and more substantial evidence. But for convenience purposes, all evidence within this presentation was ruled permissible. So all evidence that I am providing was able to be used in court. The two individuals that were seen with Hernandez and the victim were identified as Carlos Ortiz and Ernest Wallace. These two individuals were friends of Hernandez and were recruited by him to assist in the killing. Unfortunately for Hernandez, Carlos Ortiz would provide a confession, further damaging Hernandez's defense. While investigating the death of Odin Lloyd, police in Boston, which is an entirely different police department, would tie Hernandez to two additional murders that occurred in July of 2012. Hernandez can be seen on surveillance footage in a local club where the two victims were last seen. The vehicle that police were searching for in connection to the murder was also found in the home of Hernandez's aunt. An eyewitness also testified against Hernandez, stating he was with him at the time of the murders. However, despite all of the evidence against him, Hernandez was found not guilty on all charges for this case. Now, this case was separate from the case of the murder of Odin Lloyd. However, it was very damaging to his defense, considering he was fighting two separate murder cases. For the murder of Odin Lloyd, the murder weapon was never found. Police relied on the mountain of digital evidence discovered throughout their investigation to prosecute Hernandez. Police would build their case around text messages, cell phone pings from cell towers, as well as video footage to create a timeline for the murder. Based on the digital and physical evidence provided, the jury concluded that there was more than a reasonable doubt to convict Hernandez. After the trial was over, Aaron Hernandez was found guilty of first-degree murder for the death of Odin Lloyd. On April 19th, 2017, shortly after his second trial where he was found not guilty, Hernandez would commit suicide in his jail cell. An old legal principle in Massachusetts known as the doctrine of abatement ab initio states that if a defendant dies before their appeals are exhausted, the charges against them are dropped. So because Hernandez died before his appeal was settled, this principle applied to him, making him an innocent man. However, the Supreme Judicial Court decided that this principle is outdated and abolished the legal rule. This made Aaron Hernandez guilty again in the eyes of the law and will do the same for anyone found guilty in the future. This happened after the family, especially the mother of Odin Lloyd, fought very hard and with the courts to overturn that ruling, which they eventually did. And And this concludes my presentation for the case of the Commonwealth versus Aaron Hernandez. I hope you found it as interesting as I have. Thank you for listening.